A South Dakota farmer has created a hidden treasure on his land. Eric Thorstensen introduces us to Jim Lacey. This week, someone you should know.
This is a brooder house.
Jim Lacey grew up in this area and moved to this farm west of Trent in 1976. Eventually, he started a collection of barns.
Well, I had a neighbor, Max Crisp, and he said, Jimmy, you ought to get that round barn over at Sandro's before the river does. The Sioux River takes turns taking things out. You go how the river works. And this barn was in line to get taken by the river, so we went over and talked to Mr. and Mrs. Sandro, who were leaving the farm, older couple, retiring, getting out of there. Little green, little red one. We picked it up by Badger and brought it home.
Then another from a former governor.
Bill Janklow owned the farm on the northwest corner of the intersection of Benson and 29. This is the barn from there. This is a horse barn, but it was in Nebraska in an old school.
11 added buildings. This is the latest.
The little schoolhouse came from the church out east of Trent. The pastor had moved it there in 1965. And the congregation 5 years ago didn't want it anymore, but they just put a new steel roof on this nice building.
Over the years, Jim, along with his wife, Joan, created Little Village Farm. They started collecting items, and they've made these historic structures into museums.
This is an incubator for 400 eggs. Minnehaha Springs Pop. Model A went to college with me for 2 years. The air nailer and pneumatic nailer didn't just come last week. This is the evolution. This is the start. Wash machines. Keep this going, and the flywheel will take you through Grandpa's overalls. You have that momentum built up there.
With a lot of items from early farm life.
One rake parallels it, so you make a hay pile every so often instead of...
To you name it.
And he said, if you can get it out, you can. So I squirreled down there as a little boy and drug that up out of the basement, and that's been with me since I was 6 years old.
While Little Village Farm doesn't have regular business hours, they encourage people to come out.
Mostly by appointment. We ask for $10 a head. We'll take large groups. I'd rather have 8 or 10 because it takes me about 2 hours to talk them through the stuff. It's more of a collection of history than anything else. It's just like, this is where we were and how did we get to where we are from here? It's got a road gear in it. Got it up to Castlewood.
Jim and his family put a lot of time maintaining it, and at 83, he's not sure what the future holds for this amazing place.
I'd like to have it go on. I'd like to have somebody come up and put about, $500,000 in a foundation for it. But it won't happen. It may or may last, may not last. I'm not doing it for me. This is done. It's a tax-exempt nonprofit. I don't even own the stuff. It's already here. I can't take it with me. The box ain't big enough. That was a concession stand in Watertown.
Near Trent, Eric Thorstensen, Dakota News Now.
The Little Village Farm is located 3 miles east off of the Trent exit on Interstate 29. As always, if there is someone you think we should all know, please email a nomination to news@dakotanewsnow.com.